Well, I want to make an update on Palladium, and I'm going to push an interesting angle. Talk to the devil. That's me. You know, Max Kaiser. You know what? I'm not going to say too much about me, but Max Kaiser wants to take silver off the market, right? Follow me on this because this can blow. This is where people can make some money for real. And I'm going to put another angle on something. This is a Palladium chart, so guess what I'm going to talk about. The Max Kaiser wants to take silver off the market, buy physical silver, break J.P. Morgan. You know what I say? The hell with J.P. Morgan, Let them have all the fiat money they want. You know what we need to do? Take Palladium off the market. If they're saying like, oh, if we buy 1 ounce of silver coin and everybody did that, you know what? There's a hell of a lot more silver being produced than palladium. As a matter of fact, if you take palladium is way more rare than gold. Way more rare than gold. It's more rare than platinum. And it's really, most of it's coming out of Russia. There's one mine in Russia. It's about 39-40% of the world's supply. Russia produces about 43% of the world's palladium. South Africa does about 40% of the world's palladium. A little bit comes from North American palladium in Canada and also Stillwater in the United States, which I think the shareholders are Russian, Now, I want to put this statement out here. The number of ounces of palladium produced in a year does not match the number of people who support Ron Paul. Now, there's not too many people actually support Ron Paul for real. But the way you can really clobber the market on palladium, people can corner the market on this metal. I know it's expensive, but it's like what, 20 ounces of silver, and right now it just took a hit, right? It's down to like $640 an ounce. And eventually, fundamentally, it's going to be worth more than gold. And if gold is going up, and you know what? Try to confiscate palladium. As I pointed out before, what are you going to do? Confiscate catalytic converters off of cars? It's not going to happen. If you take you looked at that scrap value I showed up there before for a catalytic converter out of the larger Dodge Hemi engine. It's $650 scrap value. Buy a catalytic converter, right? That's one way to store wealth. I'm telling you, people got to people are thinking too much in a box. If a number of people just bought 1 ounce of palladium, talk about screwing up the market on this metal. You could drop, where it was back in 2001, it was it was 3.2 times the price of gold. You know what? There could be a cartel that could be pretty easily made of common people that could drive this metal up and work against, the Russians who think they have a corner on this metal. I don't think so. If you had 1 million people buy 1 ounce of this metal, you know what that would do to the market? It would make a major difference. There could easily be a cartel of little people pushing this price of metal up. Now, I decided, I was thinking about waiting that this thing was going to go below 600. But at palladium, I don't know where the hell this metal is going to go to. And considering it is so rare and this price is actually insanely low for fundamentally how rare this metal is, and it's 95%, over 95% industrial use. It's got far more industrial use as a percentage than even silver. Far more. This is like very small amount of it is actually used for jewelry. It's very small amount, and the industrial use is coming on more and more. I cited many reasons for it before. I actually bought back my position on palladium today. When it dropped, I think I got it at 642 around there an ounce. No leverage, just regular. It might go up a little bit, and I'll probably sell it, and then I'll think it might pull back. If it pulls back more, I'm just going to wait because I can't really tell what's going on with this metal on a daily basis. It's very difficult to say, and when we had this pullback the last time, in September, this time back here, a lot of this was because they raised margin rates. Now, they're not going to raise margin rates on platinum and palladium, and they are in short supply, and there's a lot of problems with, it's crazy that the price doesn't seem to go by supply and demand a lot of times. It doesn't in short term because it's a news-driven market and things like that, and sometimes, yeah, I know there's a lot of traders that probably, secretive trading houses that probably know the exact news that's going to come out, and they will act accordingly. They know exactly what to do. But I don't know if it's going to go. There would have to be something catastrophic that's going to happen to drive this metal down to extremely low levels. I'm not 100% sure about that theory I had about it going back down that far. I could see silver going down easier than I could palladium. But it could. I mean, palladium could drop that low. But like I said, I think it might bounce a little bit, and I'll probably dump it if I get a gain on it that's significant enough, and play the game, and hopefully it bounces lower. But I bought some of it back today. But you notice we had a low point here also again on November 24th. That was when Russia was dumping on the market. See, Russia moved this down by dumping on the market, even though the statistics for the year showed a record amount of demand for palladium, and they had to pull stuff out of stockpiles. Russia dumped so much on the market, they drove the price down. Then look what happened. Zoom, it went up, and then it kind of had a little hiccups with the euro, but it didn't reach a low point like it did the month earlier or in September. It didn't get hammered as bad as silver during the December 28th, the end of the year, when the euro was looking bad and all these news was coming about financial problems in Europe and stuff like that. Palladium didn't get quite as hammered as bad. And I'm thinking, the two times it really got hammered here this year was when the Russians dumped on the market, which was in November, and also at the end of September when they did the margin rate increases, which to me, I don't know why they needed to do that, because palladium didn't do so good this year, neither platinum, but they raised margins. So I don't think they're going to raise margins, and I don't see how the Russians are going to dump on the market again. So I'm not sure if this is going to drop down too far. Now, I'm going to probably take a risky guess, and if this goes up somewhat and it actually has some kind of a decent gain because they came out with a lot of great news that couple days, I'll probably dump it because I think I could probably buy it back cheaper, because I think this bear market is still going on, but I'm not sure if it's going to go down really low. Calculating the Fibonacci from the low of 175 to a high of 870, the low of 175 back, I think it was in 2009, and a high of 870 in early 2011, it could pull back to like 440, 450. But I don't know if it's going to do that, because it doesn't have to do that. It could pull back to another level, and there's too much in short supply of this metal. This one's a real tough one to figure out. But I do want to point out something. Damn, this is plain common sense. It's pretty damn tough. Say you bought 20 ounces of silver, right? You're actually going to you're not cornering the silver market the way you would just 1 ounce of palladium. Even though it's not been used as money in the past and all this type of stuff. Hey, it still wears the dual hat of a precious metal and an industrial metal, and it's actually far more industrial use as a percentage of how much is used every year than even silver. But if enough people put the same amount of dollars into palladium, at this particular price now, not at $3,000 an ounce, but say at this price, $640, $643 an ounce, little people could drive this market and cause a short squeeze in the metal, and it would just shoot way the hell up. Because really, there are some facts about this metal that it's got more going for it than silver in some ways. It's just that it's never really been used as money. That's what's wrong with it. That's the main thing that's wrong with it, and a lot of people don't know what the hell it is. common people on the street, a lot of people don't even know what this word means. You know, you'd be surprised. But you know, it is far, far, far more rare than gold, and almost all of it's consumed every year, far more so than as a percentage than silver, and it's even more rare than platinum. Now, if you take Russia out of the picture, you just cut the supply down to like 60% of what it was before. And you know, Russia could decide someday to just keep the metal for themselves because it's something they need, and they're just gonna stop the West from having it. That could happen. You see, in a way, that's kind of almost like what happened in 2001, where palladium shot up to 3.2 times the price of gold. But you know what? By little people hoarding this metal, you can really drive this price up. I think doing silver is like, it's difficult to drive the prices. I mean, the little people, it'd be very difficult for them to drive the price of silver up by just hoarding it. But you know, it's a common little fact. The number of ounces produced in a year does not match even the number of people who support Ron Paul.